Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron, where we're currently pushing through the Golden Horde out over this direction, and up here, we're starting to run into some serious issues with supply. And to that end, I'm going to go ahead and start building a hub here. It's going to take a while to get that done, and I don't know that that's going to get done anytime soon. I don't know if that's going to get done in time, but we'll see. I also want to start threatening their capital here, so I'd like to see an attack happen right here. We actually got that. Hang on. They only have one unit in their capital right now. Can we just do this? If we can do that, that's a huge deal. We got it. Okay. The reason why that's a huge deal is because, they already have land forts there too. So all we need to do now is we need to take this position. So supplies over here are no longer a concern. Reason being, we've got supplies here. And now this just linked up. So now all we need to do is we need to get that motorized, and we need to get this railway here dealt with. And we need to hold this position, of course, which we're struggling to do right now. We need to get this front fully joined up, but for now, I want to make sure that these guys are going to be here. These guys are kind of awkwardly positioned. I'm going to make sure that these are assigned here, like this. Okay, so we need to continue to push in out over this direction. This is a stack wipe here. Perfect. And these guys down here, this does not appear to be resisted in any meaningful way. So that looks good. This up here also doesn't appear resisted. So I'm going to move these guys from being here, and they're going to be moved over to here. But I want these tanks to still do that. And then these are going to offensive line, up to this impassable barrier. There's one pass here that we can take. But for now, just do that. Okay, so then we've got these guys over here. I want these tanks to attack here, actually. So we've got this linked up over this way. That seems fine. We're going to need to rework our lines here for sure. But I've noticed that we appear to have lost a little bit of ground over in this area, and we also lost a couple of infantry divisions. So let's go ahead and get those put in there, and then we'll get another infantry division put in here, and then we'll get these 4 moved into a new army. There we go. And that army is just going to come up over here for now. This is Army Group 2. Cool. So there we go. That'll do for right now. So for the moment, this is looking good. And we've pushed to here, which is fine for right now. Okay. So we're just going to look to hold this position for the moment. I want to make sure that we are digging in some of these positions, like this one. And these out over here, this is a low-ish priority on the construction, but I'm just going to do that to make sure that we have a somewhat decent fallback line, right? So something along the lines of this will do. Again, this is low-priority construction. I'm not too concerned about getting this done, but we'll just get some of that underway. Okay, so I want to check in down over here. Noted. These guys are about to get cut off over here if we move here, which we absolutely should. Why are we not? Get in here. And this tank unit should be moving here. Perfect. So we've got these guys on their way over. Looks good. This is now cut off over here. We launch an attack 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 here, but that should already kind of be underway. And then these guys can come in like this. And then these, as soon as this attack is over, will come in like so. And then this guy would go and take care of all of this. Okay, so that should be this back line taken care of, in theory. No divisions assigned over here. Okay, let's make sure that at least these 4 are assigned over here. We don't want them to have anywhere to go. So that looks good for right now. We're dug in over on this side. So I'm going to tell these guys to halt their attack. For the time being, I just want to dig in on this line, consolidate our current position a little bit, and check on potentially some supplies up over this direction. It's fine-ish. Fine adjacent for sure. So at this moment, I just want to wrap this up. That's the goal right now. So the majority of these guys, they're on their way over here right now. That looks perfect. And there's basically nowhere for any of these units to retreat. That's the idea, anyway. Okay. Autosave occurring. That's fine. And these guys are on their way back. Perfect. So we've got all of these units pocketed, and we'll get them taken care of soon enough. I do want to continue the attacks over this way. So we're going to do exactly that, but we're going to focus them up a little bit more. And I'd like to attack here as well. Okay. It's looking decent, actually. It's looking quite good. Yeah, this is looking very good. This attack, not so much, but I don't actually care about that attack. That was mostly a fixing attack. So that looks good. And we'll just get this little pocket cleaned up here in a moment. I want these guys to move in here. I want these guys to move in here. I know supplies are tough at this moment. But let's see if we can get these wrapped up. Okay. They just split off over here. That's beautiful. No, don't stop. Get in there. There you go. And these are, of course, all ready to get obliterated as well. So let's get this. No, get in there. Get in there. There we go. Perfect. So let's get that taken care of. And eventually, all of these will fall. Perfect. Now these units can get redeployed. So this is part of Army Group 4 and should definitely be on this line. That was not the button I wanted to press. There we go. And then these guys are part of Army Group 2 and should be part of this line. There we go. So now we've got these armored divisions, which are going to form part of a new army, and that's going to have a commander here. This is going to be part of Army Group 4, so we'll get them assigned in there. Now, I want to grab our Army Group 4 front line here, and I'm going to alter that front line to be the entire length here. There we go. I'm going to do the same thing with Army Group 2. So that is going to be these guys. They're going to be spread extraordinarily thin, but that's fine. I don't actually care. There we go. So they're now all going to be spread out over this entire front. We'll wait for them to redeploy somewhat, and once they arrive there, then we'll be in a much better position. Now we can get a trait for this guy. That'll be Infantry Expert. There we go. And then we can get a trait for this guy, Adaptable. Sure, why not? And then this guy could be Panzer Expert. Cool. So that looks good, and our forces are still deploying in. Cool. Now, supplies are going to be a little bit dire out over this direction, and we may want to start working on a supply hub out over here. Upgrade this supply hub, and then just do something kind of like that. Okay, that seems fine for now. I definitely want to upgrade the rail network connecting to this hub. No doubt about that. Same thing over here. I want to upgrade this rail network and these rail networks for sure. There we go. And that should be it for now. Okay. So we're still redeploying all of these troops. It will take time for them to all arrive over here. I'm going to delete the order that is over here for the moment. And I want to switch this over to being our tank unit. And their offensive line, honestly, is just going to be the far side of the Golden Horde here. Just the far side of the Golden Horde. So we're just going to do something kind of like this. Now, we do have some awkward situations going on over here with some Border Corps. The Golden Horde has assumed faction leadership of the European Entente. Okay. So they're the European Entente. They're the Middle Eastern Confederation. Apparently no one knows their geography in this game. Sure. This is definitely not the Middle East. This is definitely not Europe. but okay. It's fine. So we're still positioning a little bit here. Tajikistan joined the European Entente, and Z16 just called in Tajikistan. So that's these guys. That's awkward. What do they actually have? They've got 1 million manpower, but in terms of their overall army deploy, we don't actually know. We don't have any intel on them. Okay, these guys, they need to redeploy over to here. They just have to. We can't have them up on this line anymore. So we need to have them here, and that definitely makes things a little bit awkward for us. So Karakhanidze is not in this, but that does make it so that we can access this area out over here. So our offensive line goal here would be basically just this. Apparently we can't go down any further from there. That's a little awkward. That's apparently all we can do. Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and tell them to execute that. It'll take them a little bit of time to get into position here. So we may lose a little bit of ground here. If we get cut off over here, that would be the largest problem that we could have. Also, we're impassable territory all throughout here. Okay. This is not. There's a little awkwardness there. I'm sure it'll be fine. So I didn't expect them to call in Tajikistan, but okay, sure. So I do want to launch our tank attacks at this time. We'll get our tank attacks launched and start pushing through Golden Horde. And in the meantime, of course, we need to get our forces into position out over this direction, which is, these forces are going to be stretched real thin. We'll see how that goes. We may actually want to consider deploying these right now. I'm going to do so. And these 8 are going to go in here. So they'll make their way out over this way as well. And with any luck, we'll get forces actually to these positions. That would be the dream. And ideally kick Tajikistan out of here. But we'll see. If we get cut off over here, it's not the end of the world, but it is certainly awkward. So we've got these forces here, and that seems fine. I do want to push in and get Golden Horde taken care of. So we're absolutely pushing in right now. We may want to consider transferring a couple of armies. I'm going to do it over to this army group. Okay, so our infantry are going to be in a state for a little bit here. It's going to be rough. I was not expecting Tajikistan to be brought into this. That's for sure. So that's fine. We can handle it. We'll just have to shift some forces around. And as far as this out over here goes, I'm going to have this singular unit be assigned here. And then I'm going to have one of these units be assigned somewhere. Actually, we need a few of them, don't we? I'm going to grab all 5 of these, and they're going to be assigned over here for now. And that should plug those gaps. Okay. So Tajikistan is not our major focus at this moment. We are going to be pushing through Great Horde, and Golden Horde, once we get through these mountains here, it'll be a lot smoother of sailing for us. That's for sure. So their new capital is actually under threat at this moment. But our front is dramatically lengthened at this moment by Tajikistan entering the war. That's for sure. Okay, awkwardness is ensuing out over here. Again, this isn't the biggest of deals to lose territory down here. So that's absolutely fine. We'll just get into position over here eventually. And yeah, you can see we're moving around a lot at this moment. So how close are we to Golden Horde capitulating? Actually, very. They're 74% towards capitulation. And their new capital is going to be falling here fairly soon. So with that in mind, they might capitulate here. What are they at? Still 79. Okay, maybe that hasn't updated yet. But we'll just continue to push in for now, and that seems okay. So we're starting to push back Tajikistan at this moment, and that looks good. We need one more division over here for sure, because this is just open at this moment. And down this direction, we've got 5 divisions here, and that's not really going to be enough. So I'm wanting to pull some extra forces from this army over here. There we go. We'll pull 5 additional divisions over. So that looks good. We've got an encirclement up over here, and I definitely want to get that taken care of. Get them out of there. Cool. So that seems good, and we'll just continue to press in over this direction. We are nearly unopposed out over this way, by the way. Just drive to their capital. Seems good. They have no forces over here. This breakthrough is huge. Drive to this edge. That'll split this off into multiple fronts. So their capital just fell. That's beautiful. And again, we're about to split this into multiple fronts here. Any moment now. So we do need to get them pushed back a fair amount here. Tajikistan entering the war is definitely awkward. There's no doubt about that. But we are getting into position here, and I want these guys to start offensive lining up to... I'm just looking at the way that the impassable terrain over here is structured. It's a little awkward. So it would be basically like that or so, but it's going to be weird. Okay, go ahead and get that going. So our tanks are currently definitely doing some work. There's no doubt about that. And these guys up over here are doing well. Now I want to grab our tanks again. And these guys are going to be responsible for an offensive line that is basically the same as this offensive line, just down to here. So there we go. We'll start attacking over on this side. And I want to absolutely be pushing in over here. Get in there. Okay. So at this point, Golden Horde is going to capitulate very soon. They're 87% towards capitulation. So that looks good. The question is Tajikistan an independent nation? Yes, they are. Okay. So Golden Horde capitulating would be very bad for Tajikistan, obviously. I don't know why they decided to join this. They didn't have to. Like, seriously, they had no reason to do this. But, okay, sure. So we'll just continue to push in over on this side, and supply continues to be problematic, which is not surprising. We'll get these supply hubs up, but they're not particularly impactful, right? So that's understood. We'll get a supply hub going here. There's supply hubs over here as well. That's all fine for the moment. And we'll just get these motorized. And up over this direction, there's some supply hubs here that we have under control, but we don't have a connection to our capital. They probably will upgrade soon enough. So that all seems fine for right now. We'll get some supplies rolling in here, and we're going to be pushing through the Ural mountain range here very, very soon. So that seems good. We're successfully holding this position out over here, and these hubs, well, we definitely need a rail connection out over here. So I'm just going to do something kind of like that, and we'll get this rail connection upgraded, and then this rail connection upgraded, and then that'll connect down to this trunk over here. Okay, perfect. Something kind of like that. We'll get all of that underway. So that'll get us supplies out in this region, but it will take a little bit of time to get that done. That's understood. As far as Tajikistan goes over here, we're not expecting to see significant gains in the south at this moment. Our tanks are primarily focused on this area up here. And that seems good. Greater Bashkiria just capitulated. Okay, that doesn't actually do too much for us, but it's fine. It does pull some of their forces off of this front line, though. So that's a pretty big deal for us there. And Golden Horde will capitulate soon enough, but Not yet, apparently. Oh, we got pushed out of this area over here. That's unfortunate. But it's not the end of the world. The reason why this happened is because of this lack of supply over here. That's sad, to be sure. We'll get this motorized up to get us some supply out over this way. And we should definitely try to make sure that... Okay, yeah, this is going to have a connection. This is as well, but it doesn't right now. Okay, we'll get this all motorized up. We'll get this all motorized up. This is all fine for the moment. Okay, so we're going to continue to push in over this way. We're definitely kind of home free here in a weird sort of way. We're getting past the Ural Mountains at this point, and that's huge for us. The real question is, when is Golden Horde going to capitulate? And the answer is very soon. They are about to capitulate. So this is a bit of an issue down over here for sure. I'm going to have all of these guys go to a fallback line that is going to be right over here. So they're just going to hold this position at this moment, and I'm going to make sure that we have land forts here. So they're going to fall back. They're going to give up this area for the moment, and that's absolutely fine for right now. We don't actually care. We apparently have a unit encircled over here, which is rude, and these guys are not actually ordered to stay here. Now they are. Okay. So that's fine. It's a bit of a problem. We're still having some issues down in this area, but we'll pull back out of here, and that's fine. If we lose an infantry unit or two, it's not the biggest of deals. Okay, so we'll see what ends up happening here. It's definitely struggling. Definitely struggling over here to get out of this area. But Golden Horde has capitulated. So that is, of course, an absolutely enormous deal. So I want these guys to come in here and stack wipe that. I want these guys to come in here and stack wipe that. These are Tajikistani troops, and that's all wonderful. So those are all cleared up. These guys are not at war with us at this moment. Okay. So now what we need to do is, well, we need to get this cleaned up as well. A lot of our forces are no longer going to have orders here in just a moment, and that's actually very good. So we're going to have these guys, specifically this tank army group. They're going to come down over this direction, with the goal being to simply push in down over here and unify up this front. Something kind of like that. There we go. I'm going to have this army come position here. They're just going to sit there for the moment. And then the rest of these forces... And yeah, we can see these guys, they got cut off. That's understood. They're trying to make their way through this area. They might be able to succeed. Maybe. We'll see. The rest of these forces are most likely going to need to... Why did that deselect two? Yes, these two that I want. These guys are going to head down over here. And I'm just going to have all of these selected for now, and we'll just do that. Okay. So we need to come down, take care of Tajikistan, and that should be, honestly, relatively quick. So our tanks are on their way in at this moment. Excellent. And we're just going to push in, take out Tajikistan, no problem. Then we can start cleaning up some of this border gore, is the idea. But we'll see what that ends up looking like. It is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, Tajikistan will fall. There's no way around it. They can't resist this. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, Spock, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.